Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is going to be a little overview of a AAA bus. Now we came in here and they looked over our bus from front to back, and they are doing some things like putting on new shocks. It's never had shocks put on it since it was new, and it has had some miles, 150,000 miles, but those are real heavy miles, you know. The buses are pretty big and pretty heavy, so we had some new shocks put on. They say that'll make a big difference in the ride. Also, we had some other things done. I had them put a cutoff on my battery. We had a little bit of a battery drain when we would stop and sit for 4 or 5 days, so put a cutoff on there. And they're doing a few other things, but my goodness, we're just very excited that they took the time to work on our bus. Now I want to show you their sign. This has their telephone number. So far we're very pleased with the fact that we came here, and Tony is just a fantastic guy. He's the owner here, and then David also is one of the guys who works here, and he is fantastic also. So let's take a look. There's no way I can show you all the buses, but we'll just take a look. They've got Thomas, all these along here with the little, looks like antennae, insect antennae mirrors. Those are all Thomas's. I actually kind of like that look, but my preference is the Bluebird, which is what we have. And Tony says he really likes the Bluebird too. Now if you want a particular type of bus, this is the place, man. I'll tell you, Tony buys buses constantly. He recycles buses, so he always has parts. It's just an amazing place. So there's several layers of buses here. So when they start shuffling them around, it's pretty interesting. And a lot of newer models than ours. Ours is a 2000. We love the bus. But they have a lot of them that are much newer here.
We're saying happy travels.
That's right, happy travels.
Happy travels. That's what we're saying. Not goodbye, just happy travels.
No, we'll see you later.
So people in the South say, see y'all.
See y'all.
Right.
I don't want to mess nothing up here. I got to get a good picture of this.
Yeah. What?
That's right.
Got a good picture of that SEC show.
Yeah. I didn't notice that.
I'm going to have to really be
notice that.
watching and try to get one of those people from the middle of the U.S. to win the basketball tournament.
Yeah, they should be saying, all right, Bobby,
I'm going to have to yell for them.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are at AAA Bus. And we're here because Tony's here.
Well, we just wanted to have him check out our engine and everything, make sure everything was good. He already ran the diagnostic on that, and it was all
He said it was all perfect. So here's the engine, and he hooked up to it. There's a plug-in right up here that he's just able to plug his computer, $15,000 computer, he said, Deb, to run the diagnostic.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got a good engine. Everything seems to be working great. Yeah.
And guess who came to see us?
And guess who came to see us? There he is talking to Tony over there. Chris. And they have so many wonderful buses here. If you're going to buy a bus, I just think this is a great place to buy a bus. They work on school buses from all over. You can see this one is a regular school bus. It's pretty neat that they have parts. They've bought a lot of buses, and you can see all these parts. They have a stockpile of parts, just everything you can imagine. They have a warehouse here full of parts. Everything is so neat for this type of operation. It's amazing.
A couple of guys here today that were from France.
Yes.
But they drove all the way down to Patagonia.
They did.
In their bus.
And they drove all the way, but when they got to Columbia, you can't drive through that area.
Right. So they had to ship their bus through.
Yes, they had to put it on a ferry. I think they said it was $6,000 to go around Columbia.
And then they came back up here, and they were going to go into Canada. And they were going going up into the east part, and they wouldn't let them go into Canada or something, and so they ended up having to go all the way across to Washington and then down to Phoenix. So
Right.
they're here in Phoenix getting ready to buying another bus.
Buying a
getting ready to
second
do
bus. Yeah.
favorite food.
Hello.
Favorite ever.
Eating the best food ever.
See, I know this guy well enough to get one of those
Cars not so much. I was actually doing pretty good while I was doing like just doing off the grid.
So here's our little car and our bus, which they're doing all the greasing on all the chassis and frame. They're checking out my shocks to make sure those are okay. They're just kind of doing an overall check to make sure I'm not driving this with a problem. And here's a Wonder, I believe it's called a Wonder Large. It's a Bluebird, and they didn't make these for very many years, but they are really great vehicles. And it's a Bluebird Wonder Lodge. And they put quite the rack on the top of that. Look at that, babe. They meant business when they built that rack. It is quite a bit taller than ours. And right through here is a familiar bus to us. That's Chris's bus. What does he call her? Irma.
Irma.
That's Irma. I think he named her after the hurricane that came through just before he picked her up.
Never seen so many buses in one place, though.
They have lots of buses here, I'm telling you.
Nice, fair people.
That's right.
That's what you're looking for.
They've got buses that in all configurations with the engines pulled out, new ones put in. It's just it's nice to work with people who are honest and will give you a fair deal. And I like this, they've made a lot of their own equipment too, it looks like to me. This looks like it's built here, probably.
What are you doing out there with that camera? Nobody walks around with the camera.
I'm spying on you.
You guys have to check out the bus.
Okay. Well, this is beautiful, this succulent here. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, I got that at Walmart for $20, $24.
Wow.
Yeah, he saw that in
He
your.
bought that at
he
Walmart for
saw that in your video
$24.
and said, "Man, that plant is
nice.
awesome."
So this is where I was gonna
Oh,
get
yeah.
that wing nut, and then just, not wing nut,
Yeah, Tina.
T-nut, then just drill into there and then have that locking. But it is really nice, you know, working. I can either face it up forward there, or if I'm working right here, it just
Oh,
swivels
man.
around right there.
That is great.
But it's just finding a place to keep it mounted as I drove. Because coming back
Right.
from Lake Pleasant was the first time testing it out, and by the time that I got here, even with this down and flat, it still hadn't moved out.
Moved out.
Yeah. And you obviously don't want this
No.
Right.
falling.
Thought something happened that. Well, how's your stove working?
Good. I
Does
just
it work well?
yeah,
Yeah.
it works really well. The oven turns off every once in a while,
Yeah.
but I haven't really used it that much. I just hook up the propane tank outside and it's good to go.
Her as being a strong woman, but after you hear his story, you're like, he's a strong woman.
Okay, we're here in Phoenix in a fabulous Mexican restaurant, aren't we, baby? This place is wonderful. And it's a beautiful place, too. And this spinach dip is really, really awesome. Their salsa, you can see it was awesome. Well, we're putting on new shocks, which has turned into a quite the project here. The old shocks were kind of seized on there. The bolts are seized on there. You need a light? Tony, I got a good light in here. They have guys who know what they're doing, so they're constantly tearing down buses, pulling parts, recycling buses, buying new buses. It's a constant process. And we're just very pleased to have had the opportunity to come here, and very excited that Tony worked us in and had the time to do some work on our bus. Now this bus had a motor yesterday, and as you see, it no longer has a motor. They are fast at pulling these things apart, and they know what they're doing. You pull enough buses apart, you certainly learn how to put them back together. And this is a bus like ours that has the 3 bays on each side for storage, which is really fantastic. So this is very, very similar to our bus, except it is a newer model. It has larger windows, quite a bit larger as a matter of fact. Now the 2 in the front are more narrow, but you can see some of these windows are really large, and we didn't have that option on our bus. So it would have been kind of nice, but not willing to change at this point. Then they have the curved glass up here in the front, which is really nice. Ours, if you take a look over here at ours has the little window on the side, so it has flat glass in the front. So this is joy, and we still love it and are enjoying it very, very much. We just wanted to make sure we didn't have any problems going forward, so that's why we took the time to come in here, have new shocks put on, and have them just look over our bus and tell us how everything's operating. And they put all of the sensors on there to find out exactly what was going on, told us that we're in extremely good shape, and we wanted to make sure we were treating everything right, the transmission, motor, doing everything the right way. This is David.
Hello.
And David is a hard worker. And this is Tony, and he is my friend, and we just really encourage you, if you need a bus, come here to buy it. Tony knows everything about these buses. When you get a bus from him, it's going to be quality. So we just encourage you. I've already put up the telephone number, the sign for you so you can contact him. Tony, you are awesome.
Thank you, and I would do my best to help anybody.
So we're gonna,
pleasure.
He will take care of you, I promise.
We're traveling from Phoenix up to Flagstaff area. We're going to get on I-40 and head east, and we're looking out here to the fields on the right of lots and lots of wild mustard. It's nice and yellow. Isn't that pretty?